the topic for this presentation is called Advanced Module Design, and I want to first preview what I mean by advanced module design. You know, I'm a mathematician by trade, and mathematicians find definitions very important because we want to make sure we understand what we're talking about. So I'm using the word module here as sort of a generic placeholder for anything that you might think of as an assignment. I didn't want to use the word assignment because the things I'm going to be showing you today are much more flexible than that, but you can think of this as a module as a homework assignment. But other things, other versions are, for example, lab sets, either in the lab or from home, review problem sets, self-guided practice, or even things like summative assessments like tests. And then I also include your own projects. The sky's the limit as long as you consider this type of design and how it best fits your students. From a general standpoint, I'm going to give you sort of a flow chart about how this works, but then we're going to dive very deep, as deep as we can in a half-hour presentation on how I envision this type of module design. Everything starts with a learning objective. So all of our courses have learning objectives, and that's going to be our starting point for designing this one particular module. So for example, here's an example of a learning objective. Recognize and apply common techniques for factoring algebraic expressions. All right, so that's our starting point. With that as our objective, we, as the instructors, we want to select topics within the scope of that learning objective, the scope being sort of defined by the course itself or the students that we're working with. So for example, topics within the particular one that I listed would be greatest common factor, difference of squares, trinomials, grouping. You might also have things like sums and differences of cubes and other types of factoring techniques, depending on the scope of your course. And then once we've decided on our learning objective and our course content, we want to then move to the completed module. And in this case, we're going to select questions from a variety of sources. And I'll show you what I mean by this during my presentation momentarily. And when we select those questions, we're going to do this in a way so that the learning is scaffolded. And this is how we're going to address those knowledge gaps, those learning gaps. And we also get some nice side benefits along the way that I'll talk about as we get into it. So this is the basic flow chart. My presentation is going to cover scaffolding at 3 different levels. We're going to talk first about the question level, so individual single questions. Then we're going to move to the module level, the assignment level. And then finally, I'll finish by talking about how you can do this at a course level. And this is where, again, I'll talk about some of those course packs and other materials that are available that Jen talked about.